Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's bring in the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. We go to Austin, Texas, to hear from the great Craig Way. Craig, do you read me?
Hey, how are you?
I'm excellent. Happy week 10. We've made it this far. It's getting a little weird. My question for you is you have been around Texas high school football longer than I have. Have you ever attended a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday game? Now, Wednesday, I should say Wednesday non-state championship category.
There you go.
There you go. The answer is yes, one Monday and one Wednesday. I was just talking about this on my show this morning. I did a Monday night game after 9/11. There was one after, and there was, some time off of that, I believe it was. And it was a great game. Leander and McNeil were both either state ranked or close to it. They were both really good, and it pushed their game back to a Monday, and it went double overtime. So it was fun. But the weirdest one, and maybe it fits the time mold here, Tap, I thought about this with the proliferation of Wednesday games. I have to take you back to the year 1984. Were you even alive, by the way? I know Pickle wasn't alive. Were you even alive in 84?
Do you want me to answer that question?
If you were, you were barely alive. Let me just put it that way.
I was not.
Okay. All right. So it's 1984. And I'm a senior in college at North Texas, but I'm already working at KRLD in Dallas in the news department. But I convinced them to let me go down to Waco, to the old Baylor Stadium, before it became Floyd Casey Stadium, to cover a Wednesday night high school football playoff game between Belton and Taylor. And the reason why this happened was because there had been a player eligibility issue, if memory serves me, at Westlake. And Westlake was a 4A school back then, which would now be 5A. And there was a big dispute over a player's eligibility, and Westlake parents lawyered up. Big shock there. And then so you had, what I think what the UIL at the time decided was, you guys worked it out amongst yourselves between four teams, Westlake, Belton, Georgetown, and Taylor, and have two teams play on Friday, come back and play on Wednesday, and then the winner of that game would then turn around and play on Monday. Stop me if these 5 days in between games thing sounds familiar. Yeah. So what happened was you had the two games, and Taylor, which had actually finished in what would be fourth place in the district, pull a surprise. I think they beat Georgetown, and Belton beat Westlake. So Belton, which had Brett Stafford at quarterback, then played Taylor on a Wednesday night in Waco. It's called the Injunction Bowl because there were court injunctions all over the place. And Taylor won, which was a big surprise. Then they turned around and beat Seagoville Monday, which was a big surprise. In 15 days and so long-winded answer your question. Yes, I've been present to and even on one occasion broadcast midweek non-state championship weeknight high school football.
So we've talked a lot about teams that have had to move and postpone and cancel games because of COVID-19. But you got some interesting insight today on your show down on the Horn there in Austin about a team on the other side of it where they get canceled on. And we're talking about Lake Travis. Lake Travis was supposed to play Austin Del Valle. Del Valle's unable to play right now. I know you talked with Hank Carter today, the coach at Lake Travis. I'm interested what you gleaned from him as far as how a team maybe goes about, let's call it an impromptu bye week. I understand Lake Travis is not going to try to schedule anybody this week. I'm interested in what you gleaned from Coach Carter today.
Yeah, it's a good question, Jeff. And I asked him a very similarly worded question. I said, you meant, the quote from him yesterday was, we're not going to schedule a non-district opponent. We're going to treat it as a bye week. So I said to him, you called it, we're going to treat it as a bye week. How does practicing during a bye week. Then he talked about it a little bit about how they did what they did, and he talked about they have a couple of middle school programs that are still playing, and I think a JV program or a freshman team. He said, so we'll get them ready to play their games. But he said we prepared them not yesterday. We found it out Sunday night. We prepared them back in August because we told them we don't know how long this is all going to go. So just understand it could shut down at any time. And he said because of that, their guys have adjusted very, very nicely. He did say they have the protocol in place. Obviously, they tentatively rescheduled the game with Del Valle for Friday the 13th, which, ironically, coincidentally, goes alongside the rescheduled Westlake Bowie game for that weekend, which would be Thursday the 12th. They had to reschedule. They were supposed to play this past weekend and couldn't do it. So, and we don't, at least all indications are is that Westlake will still be able to go this Friday against Hayes, but I'll try to learn more from Todd Dodge about that tomorrow. But he said it's all a mindset. And you know how this is, Jeff. You and Pickle are young anyway, but even high school kids who are even younger, they're a lot more malleable, flexible, and adjustable than us older curmudgeons are. They're like, we play Monday? Okay, great, cool. Okay, we play Friday? Oh, good, okay. Westwood High School, the Round Rock School District, they're in that mode right now. They played last night. They'll turn around and play Saturday, and then they got a Thursday game. And by the way, the Saturday game is against Vista Ridge, and the Thursday game that follows is against Vandegrift. So it don't get any easier for Anthony Woods Ball Club, but his kids are like, okay, just tell us when to show up. We'll be there. We'll be ready.
Talking with Craig Way, the Texas High School Football Hall of Famer here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, hashtag TF Today. All right, Craig, it's time for our favorite game, which is I'm going to give you 3 games, and you can only teleport to one. And I love asking this particular question this week because I already know the answer to it. So,
Gibson Joaquin.
Okay, well, let me do the question first, Craig. Will you go to Huntsville and A&M Consolidated? Will you go to the newly reconstituted Glen Rose and Grandview, or I guess, if I'll give you a third option, Timpson and Joaquin, I guess.
All right. Now, let me say this. I think it's really cool about that reconstituted Grandview Glen Rose thing. That's fun, and they're not far apart, and I think that's really neat that's working out that way. And I just got through telling Pickle before I hopped on with you, I think it's great that she's going to be at that game. My goodness, if the church was still open in Huntsville selling barbecue, I'd have directed her to that for lunch ahead of time. Unfortunately, not the case. But I think Huntsville and A&M will be a lot of fun. I've been trumpeting Timpson Joaquin for 3 weeks, saying if this happens, not only because of those 2 schools, Jeff, but as you understand as well as anybody, that grueling district that they're in, that includes St. Augustine, these 2 are emerging. So in that district, whoever wins that game could be a legitimate contender to go deep. They all are, but the winner, I think, could be a legitimate contender to go very deep into the playoffs. So, yeah, I'll stick with the original choice and say give me Timpson Joaquin.
Yeah, Matt Stepp and I talked about this today, about how St. Augustine has so dominated not just that kind of district, but that entire region. That like now you take a look at it sounds like they're pretty young this year, and I think that they're taking their lumps a little bit. But Timpson and Joaquin, you're talking about a game that may not only for the district championship, 10-2A Division I championship, but you can make a real argument that this is that the winner of this game is in the catbird seat to win Region 3 and make it all the way to a state semifinal, where they would run into a team like Refugio or Shiner. So we're talking about heady stuff here. So I give you trouble because I know you've been excited about this Timpson Joaquin game, but there is really and truly a lot on the line, and because these are 2 programs that we haven't talked about in quite a while. In fact, Timpson looking for their first outright district championship since 1993. Then, like you're talking about, it's fun to have these other teams that maybe because they've been so swallowed whole by the St. Augustine train that's been so dominant for Coach Marty Murr's squad the past few years. It's cool to have these 2 teams that we haven't talked about in a while that are now going to show down in a big way on Friday night.
It's for all of those reasons,
Mm-hmm.
all of those reasons that you mentioned, that the time gap in between, the fact that it's a really juicy matchup, the fact that you've got two teams trying to merge to get the real inside track to having a deep run in the playoffs. And again, whoever loses the game still is going to have to be contended with. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But the winner, I think, does have an inside track. So, yes, grief, happily accepted. And as you know, if the Dodgers win tonight, I already have a whole legion of fans out here ready to give me all kinds of grief about that.
Yes.
So that's okay, too. Yeah, I'll accept it.
He's Craig Way. He's a Texas High School Football Hall of Famer. Listen to him on the Horn every morning there on there in Austin, and of course see him on High School Scoreboard Live coming up at 11 o'clock Friday night. Craig, appreciate your time, my friend, and I will see you on Friday.
Looking forward to it. See ya.
There he goes. Craig Way, Texas High School Hall of Famer, joins us every Tuesday here on Texas Football.
Tuesdays.